Ciao, Caterina. Buonasera. So we are from San Marzano. I'm Angelo. Caterina is the winemaker. So tonight we are gonna go through a little bit what San Marzano is and Puglia in general is. I'm making pasta, some orecchiette, which is a very typical pasta from Puglia, just to have a little bit of the introduction, because you know, wine is all about food and culture and everything, so it's very, very important for you to a little bit imagine what we do live here. So I will do a little bit of the introduction of what San Marzano is. So what San Marzano was founded in 1962 between 19 wine growers, so 19, because in the south of Italy, imagine it's a particular area where every family has got a little piece of vineyards and a little bit piece of olive trees. So back in 1962, they needed a way to be together and create a winery. So they started with 19 growers and ended in the end of the day with 1,200 growers since 1999, more or less. Now we don't allow anyone to get in, and because it's a closed winery now. So we are located in the center of Puglia. So imagine Puglia is a very, very long region. From the north of Puglia to the south of Puglia, you have more than 500 kilometers, more or less 300 miles. And so imagine that wines that comes from the north of Puglia to the south of Puglia, it's very, very different because you have a different soil, different microclimate and so on. So we are located in the Salento area, the northern part of the Salento. So imagine that Puglia is the heel of the boot down in the south of Italy. Yeah? And so we are surrounded between two seas, the Ionic in the west coast and the Adriatic on the east coast. Okay, Caterina, are you nervous? No, we don't see anyone here, so it's gonna be
good. No. I'm Caterina Bellanova. I'm responsible of production department. And it's a pleasure for me to have a response, a feedback of our work every day that we every day make in the winery. Tonight we start with tasting three wines,
right?
Verdeca, Talo, and Tramari, two type of vinification, two way of vinification of Primitivo. Rosé, Tramari Rosé, and Primitivo DOC Talo.
Okay. So
we start with Verdeca. Verdeca is a typical white grape native to Puglia in the northern part of the province of Taranto, in the hilly area. The area is characterized by the windy and excursion of variation of temperature with between day and night, and the windy is good for the vineyard, for this grape.
So imagine like Puglia is very, very flat, okay? So it's a flat region. You don't have a lot of hills. So where this Verdeca comes from is from an area which is called Valle d'Itria, okay? Which is the only part in Puglia, where there are the Trulli, Alberobello, Locorotondo, where there are like little hills. So imagine it's not like mountains. You have like 300, 350 meters above the sea level. And so this is where the Verdeca comes from. So why is it called Verdeca? Does it have anything to do with Verdeco or Verdicchio?
No, it's okay. Not relation with this grape variety, but the Verdeca comes from verde, because verde it means green.
Green. In Spanish and in Italian. So
in Spanish and in Italian, and it is a light yellow color with green reflection. In the past, Verdeca, it was employed for the blend with other white wines. For example, vermouth in Italian.
Imagine that the Martini family had a lot of fields in Puglia of Verdeca, so it was their secret ingredient to make the white vermouth. Then became too expensive to grow grapes, and they used something else. But it was the first ingredient to make white vermouth, for the Martini family.
The Verdeca grape has two important characteristics for our area. For example, the skin is thin, and the acidity is lively. And it's for this that for the vinification we decide to make a pre-fermentative maturation for 24 hours for degrade the skin, and we make the alcoholic fermentation for about 15 days at low temperature of 15 degrees in stainless steel. The last part of the fermentation is done in new oak French barrique.
So imagine that because Verdeca is a quite neutral grape variety, so when you eat it from the plant, it's quite neutral. So it has a lot of acidity, but then the flavor, it needs a little bit of push. So Caterina,
it's for this that we decide
Caterina
to
decided
make a
to
passage
in barrique. The last part of the fermentation, they do it in barrique, controlled by the temperature. And so this will give...
At the aging is for 3 months, around 3 months, with weekly batonnage.
We can drink with orecchiette tonight.
See, it's good. It's good with first courses, but it's good with risotto too.
Yeah, risotto or
seafood, for example.
A lot of shellfish, oysters, and lobster.
It has a light color, yellow color with green reflection, as we say. And the palate is of vanilla. Is good. Is mineral
from the woods. Vanilla.
It pairs with.
It's very. I feel it. It's very like a little bit.
Very long.
Yeah, very long and good freshness.
Well, what do you think about?
But they cannot interact yet.
No.
But later they will interact.
Sorry.
And because we need your opinion.
Your opinion is important for us.
Okay. So sorry, Ben, if you hear me, how should there you go. How should we do it? Like, should we do like for each wine we interact, or we go on with the wine?
I think just keep going on, and
we'll keep going.
If there's any questions,
have a sip of this. Okay, there you go. So imagine a little bit. So now we are gonna go in the after the Verdeca. We are gonna taste a couple of two different styles of the Primitivo. We're gonna go through the Primitivo Rosé and the Primitivo di Manduria DOC area. So imagine that San Marzano is located in the center south of Puglia, in the middle of the Primitivo di Manduria DOC area. So when sometimes you see a lot of Primitivo in the market, so you see Primitivo Puglia, Primitivo IGP Salento, Primitivo DOC di Manduria. So the DOC is the best part where they grow Primitivo, and San Marzano is just in the middle of the Primitivo di Manduria DOC. area. It's called Primitivo, not because it's a primitive grape, but because it's the first red
grape that we
harvest. So it's the prime red grape variety to be harvested.
In this case, for the rosé, we start with the harvest at the end of August.
Yeah, and beginning of September, a little bit. Depends on the vintage.
Depend of the vintage. And for the Primitivo Talo, we start with the harvest in the first and second week of September.
Okay. So, called Primitivo because it's the first red grape variety to be harvested, and the Primitivo, it has a very peculiar thing during the maturation, because the Primitivo, it doesn't ripe on the same time. Okay, so imagine that when you have okay, let's do like that. When you have a bunch of the grape, which is this, okay. So when the Primitivo it matures a little bit here, maybe late middle of late June, and then it goes here in July, and then here in August. So when it's normally mature, when we do, for example, the Talo Primitivo, when it's normally mature, we pick it up in September. The grape has 30% of the grape which is resined, because this has been ripening before, and this has been ripening later from the same bunch. So when it's normally mature, it has 30% of the grape which is resined, and 30% resined, and 70% normally mature. So we say, why don't we do a rosé? So we pick up the grapes earlier, and so we pick up the grapes middle of August, third week of August, when we have 50–60% of the grape which is mature, and 30% which is not mature yet from the same batch. So we can achieve a very good fruitness from the 70%, and the 30% which is not mature yet, we have the acidity that is very, very important in the rosé. Okay? It's called Tramari. What means Tramari, Caterina?
Tramari in the Italian version is between two sea.
Tra I mari.
Tra I mari. Mare is sea, and the Ionian and the Adriatic Sea. And this is good for the growth of the vineyard.
Yeah. Why?
Because there is a variation of diurnal and
the climate and also the wind, no?
For the wind.
Yeah, because imagine that Puglia, this is Puglia, okay, the hill of the boot. So one coast, the other coast, from one coast to the other, we have just 55–60 kilometers. So it's a strip of land between two seas, Tramari, and there is always wind coming through from one side to another. And so there is always freshness. Even if it rains, the wind always dries the plant and always make it. For this reason, 70% of the production in our area, it's all organic, because it's not certified organic, but it's organic because we have a lot of winds, and we don't need a lot of treatments into the fields, because we don't have a lot of diseases in the vineyards, which is very, very important in the end, for the headache of the morning after, let's say. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about how we do this rosé.
As we said, the rosé, for the rosé, the grapes are harvested early before the full ripening.
Yes.
At the end of August, for the vinification, after the stemming, we make a few contacts with the skin.
How many hours?
1 or maximum 2 hours, and then we drawing off the must, and then the vinification is light white wine, at low temperature for 15 days, around 15 days, at temperature of 15
degrees.
in stainless steel.
Imagine like Marzano, it's a very, very well advanced winery. So we invest a lot in new technology and new experimentation into the field. So Caterina is like the leading person that leads this innovation into the winery. And it's very, very important. Like I really hope that one day you can come and see the winery, because it's a nice thing to see. Also, like how the evolution in the years has changed the winemaking process in the winery. So we use, as Caterina said, we use a lot the temperature during the vinification, during the fermentation. Because if you take the same grape and you ferment it at 20, 25 degrees, it's a completely different flavor if you ferment it at 15, 10 degrees. Much better, more fresh.
We use it only, if possible, not chemical intervent, but only physical, like, for example, the temperature and, for example, gas like nitrogen.
Yeah.
And CO2 and oxygen for the development of the yeast.
Yeah. So imagine when we receive the grapes, you know, and we do it in August and September, it's very hot. And what we need to avoid is when we unload the grapes and we do the steaming, we need to drop the temperature down, because otherwise there is a risk of fermentation already when you steam. So what we do, there are tubes, and so there is this tube, and then there is another tube here, so it's called tube in a tube. So in the other tube, the outside tube, it passes very cold water or nitrogen.
Glycol.
Yeah, glycol. And so by contact with this other tube, we drop the temperature down.
The temperature goes down in a turn. In a turn, there is a low of 10 degrees.
So imagine if the grapes arrives at 20, 25 degrees, we can drop the temperature down of 15, 10 degrees lower. And it's very, very important. It might be an expensive practice because, of course, lowering the temperature is an expensive practice because you need to have energy and so on. But it's the most the best thing to do to have elegant wine, to have fresh wine, and to have the balance between the freshness and the fruitiness into the wine. Because you might find sometimes wines from Puglia that are too fat, sometimes in red and white, that are a little bit too heavy. And so the innovation that Caterina has brought to Marzano is this, to have an elegant wine, but with the real fruitiness and the real body of the wine.
The oak, for example, is not covered.
Yeah. So we have tasted the Verdeca before in oak, and we are going to taste the Talo Primitivo now in oak, and the use of oak. I mean, we can stay here and talking about oak for ages. Imagine the new words, you know, how they have overused the oak into you know, like Chardonnay.
The concept is that the Marzano winery has played a role central for the production of the Primitivo, for example, because Primitivo is
the main grapes. Yeah.
The main grapes. That is, this project is to create a wine with the authenticity of with the respect of the authenticity of the Primitivo, but with innovative technologies, with deployed new innovation, for example, for the vinification, or what we, as we said. And
Make pasta.
I make a pasta. For the Primitivo Talo is is a name, a typical name, a surname of a family of village San Marzano.
So in San Marzano we are how many, 9,000 people or less, so around 3,000 to 4,000 families lives in San Marzano. It's a little bit.
This name is a way to thank all of their work, because they work their vineyard like a garden, and the concept is this: respect for the tradition, but vinification with a gusto innovative.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Okay. So Primitivo di Manduria. What's the difference the Primitivo di Manduria from the Primitivo IGP, for example?
The aging, for example, the vineyard, the area is the same. The plants are grown in a vineyard with the system cordon screw system with 5,000 plants per hectare. And
so the production the yield per hectare, the production per hectare in the Primitivo di Manduria DOC area
is 65, 80 quintal.
Quintals, I don't know if they understand. It's around 7 tons. 7 tons. Yeah. So it's very important. So the regulation of the Primitivo di Manduria.
The grapes are harvested in a full ripeness in the case of the Primitivo DOC, instead in the rosé in the early freeze. In the area is characterized by a soil clay, thin and full of rocks, with the presence of iron oxide.
It's very red.
It's for this there is the color is red. It's typical soil. Is a characteristic of.
So imagine when you land in Puglia, you will go and you will see a lot of trulli house. The trulli house are houses made of a lot of stones. Okay, so why they were using these houses? Because when they were working the fields, they were coming a lot of rocks from the fields, and they had to do like dry stone walls and dry stone houses, which are the trulli. So when you come here, you will see 80, 60 centimeters of soil, and you see all calcareous rock. So the roots, they suffer a lot. They produce less fruit, but much better fruit, more concentrated, like this Primitivo.
In fact, this wine has a ruby red color with a good texture, has a generous bouquet, enriched with the notes of vanilla, and is fruity with a plum, with notes of plum and jam and cherry jam. Yes, that is typical of the Primitivo. The notes of Primitivo are this, but is enriched by the intervention of oak. As French and American for 6 months around.
Are new?
Or the second passage.
The second passage for you.
As a velvety texture, and it's a finish of notes of ripeness, persistent sweetness. Ripeness is better.
Ripeness is better, because sometimes sweetness is perceived as a bad thing, even if, like, you know, I mean, this is not sweet wine, of course.
It's
balanced between the acidity and everything. I always say, you know, I'm making pasta now. So the use of the oak that Caterina does in San Marzano, as you saw in the Verdeca, in the Primitivo di Manduria, if you have the chance, you can also try our 62, which is the reserve of the Primitivo that Caterina does. the use of the oak, which is very, very important. I'm making pasta. I always compare the oak to the parmesan that you put into the pasta. The parmesan or the cheese or the oak has to give like the touch to exaltate all the other flavor. It doesn't have to cover what is in the plate, because the oak, it will come out the fruitness, the longevity of the wine, the acidity. If you put too much oak, as they were doing back in the past, in the New World wine especially, then you will taste the oak. You can do like, yeah, it's like makeup, as Caterina says. It's like let's say you can do 10 wines that's different grapes that will taste the same. If you put too much oak, the same oak, because the oak you can buy it everywhere, same producer and same thing, but the grape is the real secret ingredient. If you have the good grape, you can make a good wine. No?
It's simple.
It's very simple. It's very simple, let's say. Good. I think we have gone through the wines. If you guys want to, I won't tell you the secret how I'm making pasta.
So we've got a few questions as well, guys.
Good.
So back to the white on the Verdeca.
Yes.
Which other white wines would you compare it to? One of our attendees tastes similar to Garvey.
Yeah, no, a lot of people compare it to the Viognier, more like the Verdeca.
And considering how warm it is in Puglia, the Verdeca has a lovely freshness. Is this the grape variety giving it this freshness?
Why is so fresh, the Verdeca, Caterina?
Because it has a good acidity.
So the grape itself, it has good acidity. The climate in that area is different, and also because we pick up the grapes a little bit earlier, no?
But the fermentation, it goes very, very for a long period.
Yeah.
At the temperature is the secret for the freshness, for the
elegance.
For the elegance. The elegance is for the passage in the barrel.
On the Primitivo, could you ever have Primitivo in a blended wine?
Can you have a Primitivo blended with some other grapes?
The Primitivo, we make a blend with
Merlot.
With Merlot, Primitivo and Merlot, and Primitivo and
Negramaro for some markets. For some markets. So Primitivo usually is used to do it by itself. Negramaro is more, Negramaro, Malvasia are more grapes that you use it in blends. Primitivo is already a grape variety that has a lot of character and a lot of...
So, because the Primitivo grape is predominant, is come posso dire?
Yeah, predominant. It's very intense.
The nose is very intense and covers. It covers the other grapes. It's for this that we decide to blend with a Merlot, because Merlot is a bouquet very intense.
Strong as well, so you can combine it with the Merlot. You cannot do it for sure with the Pinot. No, you cannot. So you need some strong flavors there.
Would you ever recommend chilling the wine as well, the red wine?
Chilling?
Yeah.
Lots of old people here in the area, they will, because in the south of Italy, especially in this area, lots of old people, they make the wine themselves at home, and so it's a little bit more sweet. Yes. And so, and they chill it. But of course, like the right temperature for Primitivo is 18, 19, no? 19 degrees. So if you could, many people get wrong the idea of room temperature. It depends on the temperature of the room. So room temperature is always 19 degrees. And
Room temperature is the
Cellar,
secret.
cellar.
Is the secret for dare un giudizio. For
yeah, to really judge a wine, like the right temperature is always like the secret to evaluate the wine.
The smell comes out. And the defect of the wines too.
The defects,
More generally on San Marzano, how big is the winery and how many bottles do you produce each year?
We are the leading winery of Puglia and almost of the south of Italy, and we produce around 13 to 14 million bottles, and we sell to more than 80 countries worldwide.
Wow.
I mean, it's sometimes you say 13, 14 million bottles and people get scared, oh, too big. For an Italian and a French point of view, it's a medium company. If you think about Antinori and all the brands that made Italian wines famous, they produce much more than us. So we are a medium company.
We've also got a few people asking if they are in Puglia visiting, are they able to visit San Marzano?
Absolutely, yes. You are more than welcome.
Good. And what food pairing would you recommend with the rosé, the Tramari?
With the rosé, food pairing, I love this rosé. Really, it's a wine. It's the kind of wine that
it's good like aperitif.
Yeah, aperitif. You can drink it by itself. I love it with lobster. If you get a chance to have a very nice lobster, it's just astonishing because this kind of like acidity and the fruitness and the sweetness of the lobster, it will go very, very well. Lobster, we do here a very special recipe with lobster. We do it, we boil it and then we mix it with fresh tomato and onion. It's very, very nice.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
No,
they can find lobster, then they can do it with tomato.
Yes.
So it's good. I mean, it's a very versatile wine. Eh?
Yeah. And what do you think will be the most important grapes in Puglia in the future?
In the future, I mean,
big question.
Of course, the leading of the Primitivo. The leading of the Primitivo it will be very difficult to complete, but we all the time we do experiment with new grape variety, no? Like Malvasia is not well known.
Some indigenous varieties white.
No, but they say what will be the future of Puglia?
Forse maybe Moscatello, for example.
The future.
The future.
In the red grapes, I mean, I really hope that you will come here because outside here there is a beautiful vineyard where we are doing a lot of experiment, coming out with very old clones that has been lost, and we are replanting again. So we really hope to be leading the new trend of Puglian wines, and maybe with a new variety. We are going to come out in August, September with a new red grape variety, which is called Susumaniello. And probably next year you'll get the chance to have it in the UK.
I look forward to it.
Good.
Just see if there's any more questions. Oh, yes, there are. What is the deciding factor when you decide on which oak to use?
No. Qual è il fattore principale quando decidi di usare un legno? Quale legno?
Noi we make we experiment many type of barrel, but we saw that the French oak is good for the tannins of the Primitivo, and the American completed this passage. Okay, for the Negamaro, the Caucasian, for example.
Yeah, Caucasian barrique, so from the southern part of Russia. So, okay, the life in a winery is sometimes a little bit tough in terms of that we need to drink a lot of experimented wine. So in nights like that where we are making pasta and having fun together, making tasting, so we taste new things, and Caterina always does experiments, because of course, like when you find a new oak or a new brand of oak, or maybe like a plot of land where the grapes in this year particular had a particular flavor. Of course, we do a lot of experiments, like a big bunches, but we do a lot of experiments, and we decide also always like based on the I would say, experience, yeah, that Caterina has.
Good. Would you say climate change is affecting the grapes at all in Puglia?
Il cambiamento climatico sta cambiando la...
Yes, because we start every year earlier.
So Caterina, before
it's not for good for
summer holiday.
Our holiday.
So Caterina, before in August you went to the beach, you know, and now she has to work.
Oh no.
So it's affecting, especially when we have like big storms during the summer. Big storms are always affecting, and more and more we are facing this during summer. So, yeah.
Got more questions coming in now. Arguably the best Zinfandels in the USA come in a natural ABV over 15 degrees. Is this similar in Puglia for Primitivo? And if not, why?
Quindi lui ha provato uno Zinfandel dalla California molto buono che aveva 15 gradi di alcol.
Yes.
Simile a quello del Primitivo in Puglia o è differente?
No, it's similar because sometimes we have the work of the vinification is for 10-15 days in which the yeast works because the yeast consume the sugars and transform in alcohol. And when the fruit is overripe, the 15 degrees is very simple to reach.
So the problem that they face at the winery is the opposite, to maintain a lower alcohol.
Yeah, makes sense. Have you done any research aging wines in the sea?
Abbiamo fatto qualche ricerca?
No.
I mean, it would be like a very nice marketing tool. We talked about it actually, because the sea is just 300 meters from here.
The problem is the pressure. The pressure,
the pressure, but a lot of wineries they do it. Probably one day, if you want to see my opinion.
More as an experiment.
Yeah, more as an experiment. And okay, let's do this promise. If we'll do it, the 40 people that are listening now, Ben, really promise, they will receive a bottle for the first bottles, 40 bottles for free. The next.
I'll take everyone's details now.
Yes, let's do it.
I look forward to it. Right. Why is Italian rosé not as popular as Provençal rosé when this rosé is just as good?
Because French people are smarter, not always, are smarter in marketing tools and campaign. They are more, they market their wines more in a group. Meanwhile, Italians, they always go by themselves, and we need we need a little bit more to promote, because we Italians are a little bit, you know, crazy. Everyone, for this reason, probably we have invented so many things in history, because we are a little bit, you know, individuals more than they have done a great campaign. Like, for example, in China, until a few years ago, they don't even knew that Italians made wine. They thought that just French made wine. And it's the ability of the French going there and saying what they want to say. It's their ability to market their wines. They're good, very good at it. And we should learn this, because the variety of Italian wines, we have more than 700 different grape varieties. We have like the competitive advantage that we could have all over the world. It's immense. You know,
just more marketing power needed.
Yeah.
Are you doing any experimentation with organic wines?
Yeah, we do a lot of. We do an organic wine. We do Primitivo. As I told you, like more than 50-60% of the production that we receive is already organic. It's not certified because it's difficult to let the growers understand like the progress, because the progress is like so long and intense. But for the markets that really require organic, we do certify it. And yeah, it's a difficult market, because if you take, for example, this Verdeca, you put organic. If it's maybe 1 pound more, they will choose the non-organic one. I'm talking generally in the market. Okay? So if it's the same price, they will buy the organic. Okay? If it's 1 pound more, they will buy the non-organic, because organic, what does it really mean in the wine business? If you think about it, it's made from grapes. So it's just the respect into the winery to not add too many sulfites and so on. But that's in our region is very...
It's very hard.
Yeah, it's an easier task to make an organic.
Yeah.
Our residual pests are very low.
Yeah.
For example, in this wine, the sulfites level is low, because we work with a gas with nitrogen, and it's not non c'è bisogno. We don't care of the use of sulfites. If the wine is not good, if the wine is not, come posso dire, salubre, if has a defect, it needs of a level of
higher sulfates. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And outside of San Marzano, what are your favourite red grape varieties to have without food? So if you're just having a glass of red wine.
Red wine from San Marzano?
Not San Marzano.
Ah, not San Marzano. Se devi pensare a un vino di non San Marzano da bere senza mangiare.
I like very much bollicine.
Yeah, so sparkling wine. But it's a very difficult question to ask for an Italian, because we always drink with our plate in front of us.
True. Or at least making your...
Yeah, bravo.
Does Primitivo lend itself to spicy dishes?
Sorry?
Spicy dishes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love it with Indian food or Vietnamese. it really, I think Primitivo is the perfect grade for spicy food, because
Fantastic.
it's a strong wine. It's a full body wine, so it can handle spicy.
Good. Can you repeat the name of the new red variety you are launching?
Susumaniello. Okay, is
I'm going to forget that as well.
S-U-S-U-M-I, no, N-I-N-E-L-L-O. Susumaniello.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
It's a long
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's all the questions we've got. So,
Good.
thank
Little
you.
donkey, brava.
Little donkey.
Yes.
Well done, Christo.
Yeah.
So, unless you've got anything else to add, thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
We wish you could enjoy a little bit of the pasta, but let's hope that you will join us in the near future, and we can hug together, because I cannot stand the life without hugging people.
Completely agree.
Bye-bye. Thank you for attention. Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you very much, both.
Ciao.
Thank you.